Right now, becoming a U.S. citizen costs $760 if you file by paper, or $710 online. If you can't afford that, there's a $380 reduced fee option, or a full $0 waiver if your household income falls low enough. Under a rule the government is proposing right now, all three of those options could disappear at the same time as a separate proposed fee hike of $570, meaning the full price of citizenship for some families could roughly double, with zero help for anyone who can't pay it. If you're a green card holder planning to apply for citizenship, or you know someone counting on that fee waiver, you need to hear this before August 24th, because that's when the public comment window on this closes for good. Here's exactly what's on the table. The Department of Homeland Security has proposed eliminating two things that have existed for years: the reduced fee option for Form N-400, the naturalization application, and fee waivers for both the N-400 and Form N-336, which is used to appeal a denied naturalization case. Right now, if your household income sits at or below 150% of the federal poverty guidelines, roughly $22,590 for a single person or $46,530 for a household of four, you can request a full fee waiver using Form I-912 and pay nothing. If your income falls under 400% of that guideline, you can request the $380 reduced fee instead. Under this proposed rule, both of those paths close entirely. There's exactly one group that stays protected: current and former armed forces service members, who remain exempt under separate military-specific statutes. Everyone else pays full price, no exceptions, no reductions, regardless of income. Let's actually put a face on what these numbers mean, because it's easy to hear $760 and not feel the weight of it. Picture a home health aide working two jobs, someone who's had her green card for 8 years, who's been putting off applying for citizenship simply because between rent, her kids' school supplies, and everything else, she's never had $760 sitting around at once. She recently found out she qualifies for the full fee waiver based on her income, and she was finally about to file. That's exactly the kind of case this proposal would wipe out. Not because her income changed, not because she suddenly became less deserving of citizenship, but because the specific tool that made her application possible simply wouldn't exist anymore. And it's not just the waivers disappearing. This proposal is landing on top of a separate proposed increase of $570 to the base N-400 fee itself. One DHS has floated that could push the total cost of applying for citizenship past $1,300 for some applicants. So picture the full stack here: a higher base fee plus zero low-income assistance at the exact same time. For a lot of families who've been eligible to naturalize for years but were waiting to save up or relying specifically on that fee waiver to make it possible at all, this could turn "I'm finally ready to apply" into "I still can't afford this" indefinitely. Here's the part I want to make sure you understand clearly. This is currently a proposed rule, not a final one. DHS published it in the Federal Register, and by law it has to accept public comments before finalizing anything this significant. That window closes on August 24, 2026. Anyone, applicants, advocacy groups, immigration attorneys, everyday citizens, can submit a comment through the federal e-rulemaking portal under DHS docket number USCIS-2026-0265. This matters because public comments genuinely can shape or delay a final rule, especially when a large volume of substantive, specific feedback comes in. If this affects you personally, or you simply think it's unfair, this is one of the only concrete windows where your voice actually becomes part of the official government record before a final decision gets made. It's worth understanding this isn't happening in isolation, because naturalization has already gotten measurably harder over the past year, before this fee proposal even showed up. Back in September 2025, USCIS rolled out a significantly tougher civics test, expanding the question pool from 100 to 128 questions and raising the passing bar from correctly answering 6 out of 10 questions to 12 out of 20. Around the same time, USCIS tightened how it evaluates good moral character, a mandatory requirement for naturalization, moving away from a simple checklist toward a broader, more holistic review of an applicant's conduct over time, which in practice hands officers significantly more discretion and more room to deny a case than the old standard did. Quick pause here, because if this genuinely affects you or someone in your family, go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're going to be tracking exactly what happens as this comment period plays out and whether this rule gets finalized as written. There's also a bigger pattern worth connecting here, one we've covered on this channel before. At the same time, citizenship is getting harder to qualify for and potentially far more expensive. We've also covered the scale of the current denaturalization effort, over 100 cases referred every single month for review, aimed at stripping citizenship from people who already have it. So you've got two forces pulling in the same direction at the same time. It's becoming harder and pricier to become a citizen in the first place, while the government is simultaneously scrutinizing existing citizens more aggressively than it has in decades. Individually, neither fact tells the whole story. Together, they paint a pretty clear picture of where this system is actually heading right now. Think about what that actually means for someone standing at the starting line of this process today. It's not just one hurdle anymore, it's a whole obstacle course. A harder test, a stricter character review, a higher price tag, and now potentially zero financial help along the way. Each piece alone might feel manageable. Stacked together, for the exact people who most need a fair shot at this, it starts to look a lot less like tightening a budget and a lot more like quietly locking a door. So, what should you actually do if this affects you? First, if you currently qualify for a reduced fee or a full waiver under the existing rules and you're eligible to naturalize, seriously consider filing sooner rather than later. The current rules remain in effect until any final version is published and takes effect, and applications filed under today's rules are generally evaluated under the standards that existed at the time you filed. Waiting could mean paying full price or more for the exact same application you could file for free or at a reduced cost today. Second, if you want your voice included in the official record, submit a comment through the federal e-rulemaking portal before August 24th. Specific factual comments explaining real financial hardship tend to carry more genuine weight than general objections. Third, if you're unsure whether you currently qualify for a waiver or reduced fee, talk to a qualified immigration attorney or an accredited nonprofit representative now, because eligibility documentation, tax transcripts, pay stubs, proof of means tested benefits like Medicaid or SNAP needs to be handled correctly the first time, especially under an already stricter review process. Here's the honest bottom line. This rule isn't final yet, and there's still a real window for public input before DHS decides anything permanent. But the direction here is unmistakable, and it lines up with almost everything else we've tracked in this system this year. Tighter scrutiny, higher costs, and fewer built-in accommodations for people who genuinely can't afford the full price of the process. If citizenship has been sitting on your someday list, someday may need to become sooner. And if you believe this specific change is wrong, the comment period is where that actually gets recorded, not in a comment section, but in the federal government's own docket. Before you go, Make sure you've hit subscribe and turned on notifications, because we're going to keep watching this rule closely, whether it gets finalized as written, gets modified after public comments come in, or stalls out entirely. If this video helped you understand something that could genuinely affect your own path to citizenship or someone else's, share it with them, because right now, timing might matter more than people realize. Thanks so much for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take care.